Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. I just wanted to quickly thank you all for subscribing to the channel. It's been going crazy, and I'm really appreciative of everybody who presses the like button and comments and everything like that. Just wanted to quickly say a little bit of a thank you. And side note, I'm extremely hungry, so what should I go eat? You can put that down below in the comments section. The funniest answer will win 20 XRP. Ripple could go forward without XRP if it loses SEC lawsuit. CEO Brad Garlinghouse. The US SEC Commission's lawsuit against Ripple continues to unfold with no possibility of reaching a settlement. So this part already is where I find it really interesting and where I want to kind of snap in on, because we've been talking on this channel about the end result of this lawsuit very often. However, logically, if you want something to do well, you're not going to plan with failure in mind, right? So in my opinion, it's not that good to always keep thinking like, okay, but Ripple's going to lose anyway, or all right, but it's going to go down anyway, or blah, blah, blah. Let's just stay positive, and if something negative comes, all right, we'll figure it out at that point. But for right now, let's just stay positive because everything's kind of looking like it's going to be going that way. Point being, we haven't really thought about what would happen if XRP were to be really deemed a security. What would happen to us? What would happen to Ripple? And I guess one thing that should be stated clearly is that Ripple will survive because, as they've stated a couple of times before, Ripple and XRP are completely separate things. And if XRP goes or if Ripple goes, the other will stay going strong. However, it's pretty interesting to see how they're also claiming that now, that Ripple knows that, and how they're basically building on top of that. So the whole lawsuit here, as I said before, is a little bit of a shit show. I would not call it the most streamlined thing ever, and I wouldn't say it's actually really easy to follow either. However, the end result ultimately is going to decide what's going to happen to the XRP price. And I would say this, what we're talking about here, is not necessarily a positive statement. It's kind of neutral for us, because this once more is talking about failure, which I see having a 0.1% probability. Honestly, guys, do you really think Ripple is gonna lose the lawsuit? I would only say the worst case is Ripple getting a huge settlement fee, or whatever the frick you call it, where they have to pay a huge fine to the, I don't even know to who, to the court or to the US? I don't know exactly who they have to pay it to, you know how that works, but yeah, I guess that's kind of a worst case. Because whatever way you see it, XRP is just not a security right now. So I don't think the SEC is going to stick to that one. And also, we've been talking about this potential partial settlement as well, where the SEC just decides they just want to go for a part of XRP, which has to do with Ripple, not with all XRP in this world, which I still think would be coming. But when quizzed on whether Ripple would consider using alternatives or just being operable with alternatives if the SEC declares XRP a security, Garlinghouse said that certainly could be a part of the solution, adding, I think there's a certain strangeness that the SEC has kind of picked winners here. It said that Bitcoin is not a security, it said that Ether is not a security, but really, everything else I think is kind of at risk, particularly given what they've done in the lawsuit against Ripple, but you know, we could do that. That is basically saying that Ripple could move on forward if that ever were to be necessary. In this interview with Charlie, Ripple chief said he hopes the court case will set the record straight about the SEC claims in the suit. Quote, I'm really looking forward to the facts coming out in the court case. You know, this is something that I haven't commented on publicly because the wheels of justice kind of move slowly. I think it's important that we get the facts out. We heard one side of the story from the SEC, end quote. And also, Garlinghouse further asserted that Ripple and themselves, quote, have been more transparent than anyone, end quote, in the crypto space. In other words, they have nothing to hide regarding all their activities, which I'm really wondering about if that's the truth or not. Because the SEC in their most recent claim have said that Ripple is actually not being transparent at all, and Ripple's trying to hide documents. They're only trying to show what needs to be shown in order to help their case and trying to hide whatever would go against their case. And that does make me wonder if they're really keeping something away from us, the XRP community. However, we will not find out, so I can only go and worry a little bit on my own, but in the end, I will not know anything. So, then comes the conclusion, because you guys are all watching like, Dusty, what's your point with this article? The point is, what do you think is going to happen if Ripple really does lose? And is it a probability, and should we prepare with that failure in mind? I personally think if you have in your head that there's a high probability of Ripple losing the suit, it's a very good idea to sell XRP. Once more, for me, that is not the case though. I am almost, no, I'm going to say, let's say 99% sure that XRP is going to come out for frivolous, no, just positively out of this all and actually increase in price. Now, is the main goal an increase in price? I would say no. I would say the main goal is XRP to be properly regulated so we can get more partnerships, so we can get relisted, so we can get everything going, which will result most likely in an increase in price. So it's in the back of our head, yes. Maybe not the first thing we're thinking about, but maybe the second. And if it loses, it will definitely lose in price, but I anticipate it to do well. And if you kind of make an equation for yourself, what's the probability of winning? Let's say it's about 95%, right? Let's just stick to that for ease. With a return of about times 8. What's the probability of losing? Let's say it's about 5% then. And what's the return on that? Well, the price goes to, let's say, about 3 cents or so. Let's say it divides by 8. Let's just do something like that. So what basically happens then is, in your equation, in your risk to reward, your value is going to be so ridiculously high, your return if you take this bet. It's the same thing as I've always said before with the roulette example. If you're playing roulette, and the bet is basically you're going to go on black or on red, right? Whereas like if you win, you double your money. If you lose, you lose all your money. And it's basically, let's say a 50-50 for the sake of ease without the house's edge. If you were to take the bet with a 1-to-1, well, you have a 50-50 chance of winning, right? And with the house's edge, you have a little bit less of a chance of winning, so you shouldn't, theoretically speaking, take that bet. If your payout, for example, were to be 1.1 and you'd still lose all your money, you should always take that bet because longer term, you're going to win. If your payout is, for example, 8 to losing all your money, but the money you can get is 8 times as big for only losing 1 unit. So once more, if you win, 50-50 odds, you have 8 units. If you lose, you only lose 1. You would always take that bet. However, in this case, if the chances of winning are 19 out of 20 that you'll win 8 and 1 out of 20 that you'll lose 1, yeah, honestly, that's always going to be worth it. And that's the way that I see all of this. So can Ripple go without XRP? Can they lose? Yes. Is it a high probability? I would say no. Is there a probability that Ripple themselves will be hurt from all of this? Yes. Does that mean XRP will go into the ground? I would once more say no. That's just something I wanted to quickly make clear for everybody. It's just been on my mind for a little while. People always ask me how I come up with my equations or what I'm thinking of when I say risk to reward. That's a little bit of the equation. That's a little bit of the thinking process. It's just really worth it in terms of risk to reward. Then here was another article talking about the exact same thing. What happens if Ripple loses its SEC lawsuit? CEO Garlinghouse indicates a solution. In the end of things, it just would not matter if they lose. They will move outside the US. And for within the US, they could use some different option most likely, but outside of the US, XRP can still be utilized. There's not really a problem. According to CEO Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple could move forward in the US with an alternative solution to XRP if it loses its lawsuit against the SEC. Since the lawsuit, Ripple has signed 20 new customers outside the US, and I'm really wondering here, when was the date between Thinking Crypto and Garlinghouse? Because was it already now? No, I don't think it's already been, right? I think he just announced that it's going to be one of these days, because that's going to be a really interesting interview to see. This was with Julia Chatterley from CNN, where he often talks about everything, basically. She's definitely one of the GOATs in this sense as well. But one of his more recent interviews in the near future is going to really show us a couple of things, because it's going to be coming from within the XRP community, or at least within the crypto community, instead of I would say a news reporter, a little bit of a different type of style. And he shows no concerns about transparency. That's also interesting, because there's also a back and forth going on between the SEC and Ripple about transparency. Let's just wait it out. Telephonic conference in a couple of days here. We're going to notice if they can get the Ethereum, Bitcoin, and all the documents surrounding XRP within the SEC. That's, I think, going to be the most important part of transparency, and that's ultimately going to decide quite a lot, because I believe that the partial settlement will also partially rely on the information from that date. And, of course, the motion by John Dean, which is going to roll out over the next couple of weeks or so. It's all really hanging by a really, really small thread, because one small little boom thing can really propel the price like crazy, or let all those exchanges relisted and whatnot. It could really be crazy. Gary Gensler is also another option, because Garlinghouse himself said that could be really good for them. Then, Vechain is the most undervalued crypto, new poll shows. I just wanted to quickly show this one. Vechain has emerged as the most undervalued crypto in a poll by financial research firm Real Vision. The crypto beat Hedera Hashgraph and Ravencoin with an overwhelmingly majority, even as it struggles to hit 10 cents for the first time ever. Real Vision, what is the most undervalued crypto asset right now? Poll with the 2 most popular answers to follow. Let's quickly see. All right, so, that's the wrong one. Let's quickly press this. and the poll has, wow, 140,000 votes. VET is 65% and Raven 30%. H-bar is not even close. Did people just meme this though? This is really stupid in my opinion to do this on April 1st because people are going to meme you around a little bit. Maybe it was a joke. Not exactly sure about that, but I would also say that Vechain is, out of all my coins, one of the ones that still has so much room to grow, even though we have already realized about times 8 or so in a very short amount of time with Vechain. I remember making those videos and even showing you guys last week how cheap Vechain used to be and how much I used to buy it at the bottom of the bottom. But the same thing goes for Cardano. However, for Cardano, I think because it went from, let's say, 2 cents or so to about $1.40, it's already gotten most of the gains out of the way. And with Vechain, it went from, let's say, about 0.1 cent or $0.001 to about $0.1. Whatever. It went like times 10 or so. There's still more room to grow for Vechain. That's basically the point being. And talking about gains, Filecoin has become the 9th largest crypto. The majority of inflows come from Grayscale Investments, the largest investment fund in the world. We, of course, were talking about when Grayscale made the companies for it. Major interest in File is a result of rising demand from China, the platform's unique and technical momentum, and institutional investors are hoping File will do better than Snowflake, a platform with a similar setup. So one thing I'm going to be doing a little bit more often is taking a good look at what companies Grayscale has been making, because if they turn those into real investable things, they usually pump like crazy, and it might take a couple of months before they roll them out, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on because, well, if that's an instant 30, 60, 80% gain, then it's definitely worth the wait. How you can look it up, I believe, is just Grayscale companies, something like that. I think it's in Delaware or something that they have made them all. And I'm looking out on marketswiki.com, cryptomarkets.wiki. I don't think we can find all the companies right here. But if you just keep looking for a little bit, you will find eventually all the things that are stated in Delaware. I'm going to call it differently. Grayscale companies, Delaware Trust. There we go. No. There's a full list. Maybe it's on the SEC.government website. I'm seeing one list right here now. It's not the right one though. Just go look for it. You'll find it, and otherwise I'll show it in a couple of days here, most likely. Just a full list. I believe it's like this on the SEC website. Through these reports, if you go look through it a little bit, maybe type in Grayscale or something like that, you'll find multiple things that they have. I'm not exactly sure where to press though to go actually look for more Grayscale ones. Maybe like this. Let's type in Grayscale. Okay. So yeah, we're seeing, for example, Live Peer, Filecoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, Bitcoin Cash, XLM, Ethereum Classic, Large Cap Fund, Zen, Z Classic, XRP. I don't think any of these are actually real, new for right now. If they are, you should let me know in the comment section down below because we should most likely buy that. But if one gets added to this, yeah, it's most likely a pretty solid idea once we're not financial advice, but a pretty solid idea to buy it because they'll most likely adopt them and it will gain in value like crazy, just like how these all did in the recent couple of weeks after we announced that on the channel too. Guys, that was it for today. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again in another crypto update.